Joining us now to talk about all of this is Republican Congressman Will Hurd. He serves on the Homeland Security Committee, and he recently wrote an op-ed on China's response to the coronavirus crisis and how it spread confusion and risk. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning, Allison. Always a pleasure to be on with you.
Great to have you. And I want to read a little portion of the the piece that you wrote about how you think China botched this. You say, addressing this crisis must be a global effort, but China's record of opacity and has hindered efforts aimed at understanding its origins and mitigating its effect. As the outbreak began, Chinese officials downplayed the severity of the virus and cracked down on doctors attempting to warn the public. How did China go so wrong, in your opinion?
Well, I think it's their style of government is they're not used to being transparent. And when you're dealing with something of this severity, a transparency is important, especially when it's a global health risk. And so the fact that they didn't allow a WHO, World Health Organization, folks on the ground, they delayed that for several weeks. It prevented us from gathering additional detail that could help determine a test, to help determine a vaccine. And in cases like this, in order to contain, you have to move quickly. And so the lack of information was something that could have, if we'd have changed it, if there would have been more information, we could have been moving a lot sooner. And
that, of course, leads us to the U.S. response. Are you
Sure.
seeing a rapid and robust and transparent effect from officials here?
I am. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention do regular updates for members of Congress. Those updates are provided to the public. Locally, my hometown of San Antonio is dealing with this. Lackland Air Force Base is a place where people are being quarantined, and you have 5 cases of people with the coronavirus that were they got it outside of the United States and were ultimately brought here. And CDC has made it very clear that the potential threat of COVID-19 to the United States and the global community is high. But the risk to an individual, it depends. The general public, the risk is still low. But if it comes to people and healthcare professionals that are working with folks with COVID-19, it's a little bit higher. And this case that you talked into the lead-in of this program about community spread. In essence, community spread means we don't know how that person contracted the illness.
Yes, it's worrisome. I mean, people, our Dr. Emmanuel, Zeke Emanuel has said that it's a turning point today. The fact that they can't trace it to where he traveled, and that's really worrisome.
Well, one of the things CDC and HHS and all the broader health community is trying to do is detect, track, and then isolate people that have this case. There are a lot of resources being put to try to understand where this came from. But CDC has been preparing for this type of case. We have to go all the way back to 1998 with avian bird flu. And then you move forward to the swine flu of 2005.
But I mean, not to interrupt you, Congressman, but the problem is that if they've been preparing, as of this morning, they do not have enough test kits. It took 4 days for that patient who is in a California hospital right now to be tested for coronavirus. So it doesn't feel as though they're preparing. And in terms of the messaging, I just want to bring up that the message from the Trump administration has been mixed. I'll play a couple of things for you about one of the.
Allison, before you play those.
Before you comment, just listen to what one of the president's advisors. This is Larry Kudlow. He did not talk about the risk. He talked about the opposite. So listen to this moment.
We have contained this. We have contained this. I won't say airtight, but pretty close to airtight. We've done a good job in the United States. I don't think it's going to be an economic tragedy at all.
The virus is not contained, Congressman.
Well, I don't know the question that Larry Kudlow was answering or the context for that, but I think this is important. Let's not play politics with public health. The fact that you had 2 spreads from people that had gotten the illness in Wuhan, China, and this is the first case of potential community spread. They're still working to determine that. When there are over 81,000 cases in the rest of the world,
yeah.
This is something that you cannot hermetically seal the United States of America, but the threat to the general public, according to the CDC, as of last night, is still low. But
yes,
the potential for
CDC,
this threat
just hold on, Congressman.
high.
I just want to make sure that we're on the same page, because
Yeah.
this is not playing politics. This is about getting the real information.
Sure.
And so the officials, except for the president, are saying things like it's inevitable that it's coming here. Americans need to be on guard. People need to start preparing. We need more money for it.
Sure.
We need more test kits. And the president is saying things like, it looks as if by April, when it gets warmer, it will miraculously go away. That's not true.
Well, again, I didn't see all of the briefing of what the president says. When it comes to the government response is being led by HHS and CDC. Those are the folks that have the latest information. Those are the folks that are working with the World Health Organization and other parts of the world, and making sure that we're communicating to the American public, because they're concerned, as they should be. The threat of COVID-19 is potentially high.
Yeah.
And there are steps that communities should be taking.
Yep.
We know that the basics: wash your hands, don't travel to China, don't travel to Italy, don't travel to South Korea,
Yeah.
don't travel to Iran until they're able to get control over the spread of the virus. And schools and cities, we have a pandemic national plan. Counties and cities have pandemic plans within their communities.
Yes, and
schools
the question
since 2005 have been practicing how to deal with this.
Sure. I mean, look, Vice President Mike Pence is now in charge of this. I mean, I know that you're saying that the CDC. Do you think that he's the right point person?
Yes, he's trying to make sure every branch of government is focused on this. But you're intimating, Allison, which is disturbing, that CDC and HHS has not been working hard in order to contain this.
I'm intimating that there's different information coming out of the government. The press conference yesterday had all sorts of things that were not factual. The president didn't seem to know the fatality rate of the coronavirus versus the flu. He has been trying to tamp down concerns. And so I'm just making sure that everybody is on the same page.
Of course. And that same page is cdc.gov. The same page, when you want to understand what's happening within the global community, is who.int, I believe is the domain. That's where the folks that have the expertise, the latest information, on the ground information folks should get.
Okay.
Schools are evaluating what they should be doing, because you got to go back to 2005 when you had the swine flu, right? Where a number of steps, some schools closed to be ready.
Right.
It's good. I'm glad people are concerned, because that means they're paying attention, and that means they're going to be prepared.
Oh, for sure. And I can tell you, I mean,
that's the important piece.
Understood. Our viewers are very concerned and paying a lot of attention to this.
Absolutely.
And we'll be answering more questions coming up with Sanjay Gupta. Congressman Hurd, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming on New Day.